Hey, Rodney here. Shall we make a game? So yesterday we started on this rather terrible looking world map, and my, what a terrible looking world map it is. So, in Engine it looks even worse. So I've got some ideas what the problems are, and I think what they actually need to do is make a whole new texture for this with a whole new palette. Part of the problem is I'm reusing these colours which are kind of appropriate to the angel, but they don't really look good on this map. So I'm going to make a whole new texture. And this will give me a lot more room to work with, because one of the things is I'm quite cramped in this corner. I was thinking I'm going to want different colors for the different buildings you can select, just so they're more kind of like obviously visually distinct. And I might want more variations for like the sides and things. Also, the turning goes to 2 blocks tall. We now have buildings that are free. So let's just move all this into the corner and figure it out from there. Okay, so we're going to want a much darker color for the ground. In fact, I'm just going to delete all the colors. Yeah, get out of here. Oh, that is a really ugly shade of green. Let me just fix that. I think I had that so the silhouette was obvious in some context, but I don't really need that anymore. Yeah, here it is. And it looks like the safe per image, which is nice if true. And that's a bit too bright still. Darker, 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 darker. That's better. Okay, so we've got 8 shades to play with. I was generally trying to keep this project to 4 because I tend to go overboard with shades, but we'll figure it out. And I probably don't need this much space either. Let's go down to say 32 by 32. That's probably going to be enough. And then we're going to have to do some awkward blender juggling. So you can switch over to Eevee because you can't change textures from within Workbench for some reason. And then we're going to make a new material. And then we're going to import a new texture. And it's kept everything good. Now, if I then go back to here and I switch over to the texture we just imported, it is blank, as one would expect. Now let's start just blocking out where our roof shapes are going to be. So, oh, I've still got palette lock on. Why is that feature even a thing? I do want to stick with the yellow colour, but I think I'm going to graduate it a bit more, maybe have it go a bit more, yeah, across the hue spectrum. How many pixels is enough pixels? Let's go 5 by 5. Kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies because you wouldn't really do 5 by 5 in any context, but let's do it anyway. It just feels about right for the pixel density, you know? So this is going to be our side. That's going to be our side. And reload. Okay, good. And let's also do a version of this that's only 2 stories tall, just because they're going to have a very slightly different gradient on them. Okay, and then let's unwrap this onto this. Can we do the others at the same time? Yeah, it looks like we can. Let's try and get as much of this done in one swoop as possible, because I spent ages yesterday on this terrible looking model. I don't really have the time to spend on this terrible looking model. And then we can probably grab all of that as well. Yep. Okay, that's everything. And I think that's about right. Let's have a look. Let's shade one of them in a bit differently, just so we can see an obvious difference between top and bottom. And maybe also draw a bit of an arrow on it, just so I can see which way is X and which way is Y. So I can see that it's all wrong. Very good. And let's also just draw along that edge, just so I can see. Yeah, they're all upside down. Ah, why did I do that? Okay, let's grab the bottom floor of all of these and then correct all of them. Man, I mean, like, it feels like I'm putting way too much time and effort into this model that's not even that significant to the game, but it is the main menu of the game. It needs to make sense. It needs to be readable. Okay, next up, let's just flip all these around so they're all How did those ones end up the? Oh, I don't know. How's this one ended up completely flipped on that axis? No idea. I should do something like that so I can tell if yeah, it's still flipped. There we go. Let's rotate all these back into position. Because something that was really not helping yesterday when I was trying to figure out how to texture these was many of them are misaligned or the wrong way up or whatever, and it meant that I couldn't really judge fairly whether my changes were actually improving the model or whether, or whether it was just that they didn't clash as much anymore. Okay, so what I was thinking about doing was it's a really nice smooth gradient, right? So not quite to black by the top, but something like that. And then I can start with the brightest color at the bottom, and then every couple of pixels go to a darker shade. And that should give us a much more kind of comprehensible sort of cityscape. Just like that. Right, and then I'm going to do a variant of this for the sides, which is going to be maybe darker, just so that they kind of stand out against one another. Maybe 2 shades darker, actually. It's just occurred to me I haven't left enough gap between these for edge padding. That'll do. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to make it 2 shades darker. And yeah. Next up, let's get all these back in line. Yeah, I've got a lot of these 2-story buildings. Does mean most of them are going to be done in one fell swoop though, so that's good news. Okay, I think I've got all of it there, haven't I? Yes, I have. Okay, then need rotating, other way up. I'm just going to grab the second story of all these buildings, and then it should start to look a bit more coherent. It should start looking a bit more readable. So I was thinking, I'm actually going to want a whole bunch of variants of this texture. I'm going to want ones that are, kind of hovered and stuff like that. So we're going to have to do a whole bunch of variants on this. We'll figure it out. So that is just instantly way more readable. Like, instantly, that's made such a huge difference. Maybe the top should be really dark. I was thinking they shouldn't, but maybe they should. Okay, let's do the other sides next. With regards to like rotating the map, I kind of wanted it to spin, but at the same time, if you're pointing at targets on a spinning map, that sounds just incredibly annoying, so it's not going to spin, I guess. Okay, that's all of that. Oh, we've ended up with a split. How's that happened? Don't know. What on earth's happened here? That'll do. And yeah, this is again on the darker side. Yeah, it's amazing what just like a few hours away from a problem, how much it helps you kind of realize where you need to take the solution. All right. Oh, I missed one there. Oh, I'll come back to that in a second. Again, they're all at different angles. What the heck? We'll just do a Q projection? Nope, not the Q projection. Oh, I've really messed this up, haven't I? All right, and these ones are upside down for some, well, on their side for some reason. There we go. Oh, that looks so much better. That really does. I was hoping for kind of like a sort of like a wireframe grid on it, but at the resolution we're running at, I'm not sure if it's going to be viable. It's just going to look a bit too noisy and messy. Okay, I've got one more side of the two side buildings to do, and then we start thinking about the rooftops and everything else. And splitting it into objects. Now, one of the things is all these buildings are very nondescript. They're not terribly memorable looking, and I'm hoping the colour will help with that. I'm keeping my options very open for where I'm actually going to place things. Like, I mean, the cinema could be, well, the movie theatre could be any of these, realistically speaking. And I was also going to have, for my second scenario, an apartment building, kind of like studio flat type thing. And again, that could go in any of these. So at least I'm keeping my options open by doing it like this. These have also ended up the wrong way up. What the heck? And this one. And these ones. Wait, are these all the wrong way up and I've just taken this long to notice? There we go, that looks way better. Okay. Next up, I'm just going to do the backs of these. Similar kind of story, grab all the lower halves. Making sure not to miss any, like I did last time. And just shuffle them into position. Okay, how's that look? They need rotating so badly. All right, okay. I wonder, can we get that into engine already? Let's just check. It might do some strange things because some of the vertices, sorry, some of the vertices are out of bounds. Let's see, can we build this? It's built. Whether or not it'll run is a different matter. Oh, hey. Oh, hey. Now, I'm wondering if doing the UV padding down the sides is actually going to improve these. It's going to get rid of the seams, which might make it look a bit better. That actually looks okay. All right, so we just need to finish these off. So I've done all the sides, haven't I? Yeah, let's just experiment with putting a bit of shadow, a bit of like really dark area inside here. Just want to see whether I can make it look a bit less empty, I guess. That looks okay. It doesn't look great, but it looks okay. It looks way better than it did before, though. Oh yeah, all right. Okay. Next up, we need to build some rooftops. So I'm going to make those pretty consistently kind of like very dark. Might need a darker color than that, though. And we can use the exact same tile on all of these. It's not that big a deal. Now, I was thinking for the kind of like the streets, whether, the kind of like floor tiles, I might do a second, an extra tile for the outside, but then make all the other ones inside the same. Hey, that looks okay. I'll check it in engine, but that looks okay. I'm happy enough with that. Yeah, I was thinking about using a different shade for the streets, just so it really kind of a different kind of like a slightly different hue, just so it really contrasts with the buildings and they really pop out. So what we got next? Let's do the tall building. So this one's going to graduate a bit more slowly, just so it doesn't like exhaust all the shades by the time it reaches the top. And I think that's kind of worked. Let's unwrap that now. Where is it? Oh. Oh, I've kind of got them all. I've kind of got them all in the big heap. That's no good. Damn it! Damn it! Didn't mean to select that. Okay, is it the right way up? Nope. Of course it's not. Yeah, that looks like it's going to work. That'll do anyway. Yeah, it's important not to spend like multiple evenings modeling a map screen when you've you've got 60 hours to make a game. Yeah, that looks really good actually. I'm really happy with that. Let's do the same for the side texture now. So we're going to do something very similar. Basically, oops, gone brighter rather than darker. Just starting from a darker shade, going roughly at the same rate, and we should hit the same end color. Near enough. That should do. Let's move these around a bit. Why isn't that rotating? What have I done to anger the Blender gods? Oh, don't know, because it works now. Okay, again, let's have a look at that in engine. This is one of the more difficult things to do in engine so far. Just want to make sure it doesn't look completely terrible before I move on. That looks okay, that'll do. Yeah, all these nasty bits around the edge are just due to transparency. So yeah, I've just got to do the, I've just got to do the street level now. I'm just going to hide everything else just so you can see this in isolation. Oh yeah, I've also got to do this one block tall building. Do I just do a cheeky and do I just reuse the two-story one? I think I will. There's only one of them. It's not really worth spending an entire like bit of texture atlas on it really. And the fact it saves time is just an added bonus. All right, okay. That's looking pretty good. So yeah, I think I might put the road piece kind of in there. So what are we doing for that color? Let's do roughly the same gradient, but let's go for a less saturated, I think. Paste it a bunch of times and just do my old trick where I kind of scroll from one side to the other, dropping the brightness a touch as I go. And I'm going to have it brightest around the edges so that it's almost kind of like it's projecting light upside the building. Let's just see how that looks. It's probably going to look very strange. Let's go side on and use the good old rectangle select to only grab the side. That looks extremely strange. Let's just get this line back up. Yeah, that looks incredibly strange. Maybe it needs to be more saturated, not less. Oh, but it's kind of already fully saturated. Oh, maybe I go different hue. How's that look? That looks incredibly weird. Maybe I swap the brightnesses around. Maybe I go brighter in the middle and then darker in at the edges. I mean, it kind of looks like a dance floor, but it could be worse. How does that look? That looks too much like a brown, doesn't it? How about that? That looks okay. That looks roughly like what I was after. Okay, let's see it in engine, see how it looks. Where's the floor? Where the heck's the floor? What? It's just decided to not draw the floor for some reason. Or the side of this building. Oh, I didn't export, did I? To build again. All right, okay, that's looking considerably less terrible than it was at the start of the stream, which is very, very good news. I was a bit worried about that. So, I now need to break this up into separate kind of objects per building, and then make some variants of them with different colors on them. So, basically just going to take a copy of this palette and do something interesting to it, I guess, like maybe brighten it slightly. You know, say that if you're mousing over it, you want it to be a bit brighter. But not silly bright, you want it to eventually fade to the same color roughly. I'm thinking the central building isn't going to be selectable. Right, let's start separating all of these out. So we've got the base, and then we're just going to looking at it from this angle, right? Yeah, like that. I guess I'm just going to go across like 1, 2, 3, 4, things like that. Oh, no, there we go. Let's merge these all together into a single, cohesive whole. At the moment, they're all separate kind of islands of polygons. And then turn off the X-ray function so we can select the whole thing. That's now an object, and you're now an object, and you're now an object. You're now an object. You're now an object. As are you. And you. And you. And you. And finally, you guys. You guys are going to be an object now. There we go. And now we've got a big stack of meshes over here. So let's go start renaming these. Oops. Oh, I should probably be naming this as well for kind of like the state they're in. So yeah, I'm gonna be swapping them out for a different mesh. Okay, so if I go to the image component, there's something I need to think about here, because in this image component, right, I've got all this logic to do with kind of like mousing over, hovering, activating, that kind of thing. I need to basically be able to reuse all of this for meshes, and these two component systems need to be able to talk to each other. And I'm not 100% yet on how I'm actually going to do that. I might end up moving some of this stuff out to kind of like a shared file that they both kind of call into. Something like that. Don't know yet, haven't decided. Maybe we have kind of like a hoverable component, and then that calls into a callback to find out if you're hovering over something. That could work. That could work. Yeah, so what do they call these? If we go through to the, I think it'd be the list component where I had the images for the various states. So I've got idle, hovered, activated. Okay. There's no disabled yet. That's probably a good addition for later on down the line. I'm probably going to end up inside like future iterations of this engine having more UI components than just text and buttons. But I want the one of the things I want to build with this engine is meant to be light gun compatible. So that actually puts a lot of constraints on what you can realistically do with with input. I've named one incorrectly. You can't exactly have draggable sliders and stuff if you've got light gun input. You can have checkboxes and you can have lists, but generally you don't want them scrollable. You want like as few large, easy to press buttons as you can get away with. Okay, next up we need to, I'm just going to go in here, I'm just going to extend all these UV islands just to make it look a bit less terrible in Engine. This shouldn't take super long. Almost there, nearly there. There we go. Oh, I need to do these as well. And then I need to actually import all those models I just made. And given that all of these are going to work in exactly the same way, I think I'm going to, I'd normally avoid like a data-driven kind of like working from an array kind of deal, but every single one of them is basically going to be a model you can click on, some text that is shown while you're hovering over it, and a script to run when you travel to it. So why not, why not make that functionality reusable? So I've got to import all those meshes I just made. This is going to be a lot of imports. Gonna work that compiler hard. And then I need to make, how am I gonna do this? Yeah, what the heck, I'll just make arrays. Don't really care. Oh, my typing is, what am I doing? Oh. And I basically need to take all of these and just list them in the array so I can quickly kind of like work through them without needing to code for each specific one. I can still just walk through this array and that's the end of it. Okay, so now I need to define how many buildings we have. That should be nice and easy. And then I need to add a bit to this which loops through and actually creates all those. So where do we make the map? Ah, here it is. Yeah, so I'm just going to loop through all the buildings and add a component for each of them. Okay. Oh yeah. The compiler was very carefully pointed out there that I said I was going to, loop from say 0 to 11, and then I never actually made it move on to the next item. So it would have just added components for the first building forever. Did I actually export from here? I don't think I did. So this should look exactly the same if all's gone well. Okay, that has actually worked because it looks exactly the same. So, right, next up, I need to start thinking about how the heck I'm going to do pointer interactions with these. Let's make the variants of these that light up and things, just so we'll be able to see that it's working or not working, as the case may be. Oh, that's a lot of objects we just made. Oh, it's a shame we can't edit them all at once. That would have been handy. Yeah, if you try and edit, go into edit mode in Blender with multiple objects selected, it'll just, it kind of like, whenever you select multiple things, it's kind of subtle, but like one of the selection highlights is kind of like bolder than the others. And so even though you can select multiple things, one of them is kind of like the lead thing. And if you try and go into edit mode, it'll edit that, not any of the others. There might be a way you can turn that off, but I don't know of it. That kind of sort of lead selection thing though is actually really handy for, say, if you're attaching objects to objects. The one that's kind of highlighted is always the parent. Okay, so let's just hide all of the idle ones. And then we're going to go through the hover ones and just adjust their UVs slightly. Oh, I might need to do an alternate rooftop texture as well. I didn't think about that. Now that barely looks any different, so I definitely need to rethink that. Let's really punch it up quite a bit. Okay, that should be really, really, really obvious that one's selected. Yeah, that's much better. But see, it's way more obvious that that's definitely something you're interacting with. Gonna make a new variant of the rooftop texture as well, just to kind of like really hammer home just how much this thing is trying to draw your attention. Let's see how that looks in context. Maybe. There we go. Maybe go shade brighter. That'll do, I guess. And now I do all the other buildings. This shouldn't take long though. Oh yeah, I need to do a variant of the really tall building, don't I? Oops. I hope I've left enough texture sheet space for that. It might end up going in sideways or something. Oh yeah, I'm also going to need a... Oh, hang on. I'm also going to need a variant for activation, not just hovering. Okay, yeah, I'm going to need to roughly double the size of this texture sheet. That's not such a big deal. It's going to be a bit annoying because I'm going to have to go back into all these and rescale them to match the new UV map, but not the end of the world. Okay, that still builds. Very good. And it should look exactly the same. Good. All right. So I need to expand this out a bit more, just making more room for the other variants. So let's go to 64. And I'm just going to preemptively make sure there's definitely enough space for what I'm about to do. Oh yeah, there's plenty of space. Yeah, there's tons. Right, so this is going to be our brightest version of this. So again, we're going to copy this and just make it even brighter. I've kind of washed it out a bit though by making it brighter. Let's see if we can fix that. Hey, I've broken everything. Woohoo! So it used to be like 32 pixels across, and now it's 54. So okay, using the 2D cursor, I think we scale it up to 32 and then divide it by 54. Is that right? That looks about right. Yeah, I'll stick with that. Just going to show all the objects and do that to them. So what was it again? It was scale it by 32 and then scale it down by 54. Okay. Oh, this is going to take a while. I wish I'd left myself more space in the first place. Oops. Ah! Press the wrong button. Yeah, I think considering getting, because like a lot of stuff in Blender kind of happens with keyboard shortcuts and stuff. I was considering putting up like a fighting game kind of display. You know, you can see what people are pressing. It's just time though, isn't it? Nearly there. Oh, finally. Okay, let's export that again and make sure it looks good in Engine after doing all that. Let's make sure I haven't done anything obviously wrong. Okay, happy days. So yeah, did I do all of these buildings? I don't think I necessarily did. Yeah, I didn't do building 7. So let's make our alternative version of this that's just a bit brighter. And then a slightly less bright version of it for the camera facing away side. And then we have a final one down there, which is the extremely bright one. Might as well do that now while we're here. Okay, let's just rearrange these to fit. Okay, there we go. That's good. And then we're going to do all of the the third variant, so the activated ones. Again, just select all of them, rename them all. Oh, I've just realized I called them hover, not hovered. That's going to bother me. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just going to rename all these to hovered because they are, but the state they're in. Why does English have to have so many different ways of saying the same thing? I mean, would it really be ambiguous if all forms of a verb were exactly the same? I don't think it would. Okay, now we can see the activated ones. So let's just move these around as well. I'm just going to do the UV padding first. And I'm probably not going to get these active in engine today, but I can make a bit of a start on refactoring the kind of like selectable component. I'm also going to brighten the roof up just a touch. So it's a bit more clear that it's definitely moved over. Yeah, it's darkened out a few shades, I think. Yeah, just so I can tell that I've done it, I'm just going to make it very bright for the moment. And let's do all these objects in turn. Oh yeah, I reused the 2-story for the 1-story, didn't I? How naughty. Anyway. Oh, that's misaligned. I'll fix that in the hover version in a second. I'm writing the code to actually do kind of like object picking. Isn't going to be complex, but it's definitely going to take a while to iron all the kinks out, I think. I think the best way of doing it, because a lot of implementations I've seen do this really neat thing where they kind of, I think they call it barocentric coordinates or something. It's way above my head. We'll figure out something that's a pleasantly hacky solution. Or is it bacentric? It's something like that anyway. Let's hide everything, and then let's get all the hovered ones out. One of these is going to have a misaligned texture on the roof. Huh? Why aren't they showing up? Oh, I had the scene collection hidden. What? Huh? Hang on, I'm getting confused here. That one looks good. That one doesn't. There we go. Okay, let's export that. There's going to be a lot of new objects. And we can import them here. It's probably going to complain that I'm not using these anywhere, but I'll just void them off. Oh yeah, and I actually need to import these, don't I? Before I try and use them. And at some point I'm going to have an array of names, an array of, yeah, stuff like that. Okay. In engine, should look identical. That's good, that's fine. So, I'm just going to commit what I've got there, because that's actually quite a lot of, it's soft progress, but it's progress nonetheless. Oh, I didn't commit anything I did last time. Oops. Let's make sure I save that Blender file. I'm still paranoid after the angel animation incident. That PNG file was accidental, didn't mean to make that. Okay, so yeah. Right, so let's go to the image component, and everything in here to do with interaction, basically, I'm going to have to rip out and put somewhere else. Now, I was thinking, are interaction components something I'm going to want to move into their own, well, something that you kind of attach after you make a mesh? And I'm thinking no, because you want all meshes to shade the view. You don't want to be able to click through something just because you can't click directly on it. So here we go. Guess I could call it click components or select components. Selectable components. That will do. And all references to images in here need to go. We're not talking about images anymore. We're just talking about, yeah, pointer state. Man, this is going to be so many more parameters so that function to create a mesh. Oh well, can't really be avoided, can it? And I'm going to want to be able to pass them down whenever I'm making something animatable, I think, because we might have animatable things you can click on in the near future. Oh my god, this is so many instances of the word image. I need to start copying this rather than just typing it each time. There's not going to be an image, there's not going to be any of this stuff. That's all image specific things. But we are going to have a callback to retrieve the depth so that this kind of like system for doing selection can ask, hey, here's the mouse cursor. How far away, if that is covering something on, if that is covering this object, how far away is it? So I know that whether that's closer than what we're already dealing with. Now we can get rid of all of this. None of this is relevant anymore. Very nice. That will do. Right, now this, oh, actually, not yet, but that file is about to get completely rewritten from scratch. call which is called to determine whether the cursor is over a selectable component. And whether and how far away the selectable component is at that point. There we go, that'll do. So I'm going to be a bit cheeky here, and I'm going to make it so that you just return not a number if it doesn't overlap. I think that will do. We're going to have to add a lot more parameters to this, though, as we need to pass down the cursor position. I keep saying cursor and I mean pointer, because it could be anything. It might not be a mouse. We may well end up having more kind of features in here, like maybe kind of like a method that we can pass down to speed up lookups. That's probably not going to be enough selectable components either, because it's going to be every mesh and every menu item. Anyway, let's just sort out. We've got any word wrap issues to sort. That's one. That's two. That's three. And I think we're good. Oh, these are all a bit broken as well. Yeah, I'm trying to code like it's the late 90s. That's one of my goals here. So I'm trying to stick to 80 columns because well, we're pretending it's the late 90s. Now, the question is, when it comes to depth, how is it going to work for an image component? Because those don't really have a depth. They're kind of like overlaid. Maybe we make those go out of range? Yeah, maybe let's go to like, say, -2 or something, somewhere that, you know, like a true 3D object would never reach in this engine. Okay, we can get rid of all of this, and we can swap this over to using our new callback. Let's find all mentions of image components in here and destroy them all. Definitely going to need images, colors, or matrices in here. Not going to need cameras. That's entirely to do with image components at this point. Actually, do image components even use the camera? I don't think they will. I don't think they would anymore. Yeah, they don't. Let's get rid of that. Let's keep deleting things until we're happy. Oh, would you look at that written hour? Well, tomorrow I guess we're picking this back up and see if we can implement this fully. That actually works out pretty nicely, as it will be bright tomorrow, meaning I will struggle to do anything involving color. So something involving code sounds like a good call. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great evening.